Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. So today in this video I'm going to explain the concept arrays in C++ programming using simple examples as you all can understand. So let's get started. First of all, we'll see what is actually meant by this term array. In C++, array is a variable that can store multiple values of same type. There are some important points here: multiple values and same type. That means we can only store multiple values of same data type. Suppose we need to store the height of 24 students in a school. In a normal way, if we don't use arrays, we have to create separate variables for each student. But when we use arrays, we can just simply create that array and store all the details in one array. Like in here height is the array name that can hold maximum 24 elements of double data type. Arrays are two types. First one is one-dimensional array and second one is multi-dimensional array. In here, we are going to see how to declare that one-dimensional array in a C++ program. When declaring one-dimensional array in the program, first we have to state the data type of the array, then the array name, then the array size within square brackets. For example, let's consider the example here. In here, int is the data type, which is the integer data type, and note is the array name, and 10 is the array size. And this is how the usual way how we declare an array in a C++ program. After creating arrays, we have to know how to access the elements or components within the array. The general form used to access the array components is this. We can use this piece of code within our C++ program. First of all, we have to state the array name, and within square brackets we have to state the index. So what is this index? This index is the position of the component in the array. So let's take this example. This is the declaration of array x int x6. So this diagram depicts this array. So it has 6 slots, that means 6 positions, but the indices end with 5, not 6. But why is that? The reason behind that is array indices start with 0, meaning x0 is the first element stored at index 0. So if the size of the array is n, the last element is stored at index n-1. We know that our size of the array is 6 and 6 minus 1 is 5. So in this example, x5 is the last element. In here we are going to see how to initialize an array. Earlier we saw how to declare an array. So we can do these both processes at the same time. First we'll get this example int x6, and this is how we initialize our array. That means after stating the data type and the array name and the array size, equalizing the data which we are going to enter into our array, separated by commas within curly brackets, and this is known as array initialization. So we can do like this also. In here we haven't stated the array size. In this kind of instances, the compiler automatically detects that this array X contains 6 elements by counting the elements which we have initialized or given to the array. This is a simple program. Print a one-dimensional array elements. So we'll see how it works. First, I have stated the data type of the array and I have stated the array name as number and the array size as 5. And I have initialized some numbers for the array number. So when printing a one-dimensional array, we have to use a for loop. The for loop will be iterated from I equals 0 to I equals 4, and each iteration we have to print the number I. Now we'll see what is our output. And this is our output. 7, 8, 9, 10 level. And same as this. Normally C++ allows an array to have more than one dimensions. So that kind of arrays are known as multidimensional arrays. Here 2D array is a type of multidimensional array. Here in the 2D array it consists of certain number of rows and columns. So I'm going to explain this concept using this example. In here, earlier we saw only one square bracket, but there's two square brackets, two pairs of square brackets. So int is the data type and z is the two-dimensional array name. And what are these two means? The first square bracket means the number of rows. The second square bracket means the number of columns. So according to this example, our two-dimensional array has 2 rows and 3 columns. That means within our two-dimensional array, we can store maximum of 6 elements. So consider our two-dimensional array as a table with rows and columns. This is our array Z. Z has 2 rows and 3 columns. We have 2 rows and 3 columns. But as earlier, when indexing the columns, we have to start with 0. So first row will be row 0. Second row will be row 1, and same thing applies to the column. First column will be 0, second column will be 1, third column will be 2. So when accessing array elements in the array, we have to use the same principle which we have used in the 1D arrays. The only difference is it has 2 as rows and columns. First square bracket denotes the rows and second square bracket denotes the columns. Here we can access like Z 0 0 as 0 is the row index and 0 is the column index. And when we get this position, we can access this position element by Z. 1 is the row index and here 1 is the column index. When we get this position, we can access this position element by Z 0. 0 is the row index and 2 is the column index. So likewise, by using this method, we can access the elements of a 2D array. In here, we are going to see how to initialize 2D arrays. As in 1D array, we can do both initialization and declaration at the same time. In here, First we have to state the data type of our array, then the array name, then within first square bracket we have to mention number of rows, and within second square bracket we have to mention number of columns, and we have to equalize the data in a format like this. That means within a square bracket there are two square brackets in this instance. That means within the big square bracket, the first square bracket is the first row elements. First row elements. They are separated by commas. And there's another square bracket. It has the second row elements. We know that we have only two rows. So it is done. And the two row elements must be separated by a comma again. And this is how we are going to initialize 2D array in our program. Two-dimensional arrays using this. Here I have initialized two-dimensional array as mark, and I'm going to print that array mark by using a for loop. So here I have initialized the array mark, which is in data type, and I have entered some values for the array, and this is the for loop. This is not just a for loop, this is a nested for loop. That means a for loop within a for loop. There's a for loop within the for loop. So in the outer loop, from I equals 0 to I equals 2, it accesses the rows of the array. And in the inner loop, from j equals 0 to j equals 1, it accesses the column of the array. And then finally, this program print the mark in each iteration. So there's some points I have to mention, that this 3, if we closely look at this 3 is the number of rows, and this 2 is the number of columns. And as it starts with 0, we can use I less than 3. So totally it output 3 iterations, 0, 1, 2. That means 3 iterations. Here also the same concept applies. So let's run this program. And this is the output we get.